What's up, everybody, and welcome to the Survivor Now podcast. My name is Randy, and today we are honored again to be joined by another amazing guest, a former castaway of the past season of Survivor Australia, Blood versus Water. She lasted 36 days, finished in a very respectable 10th place, came into the game with more of a blood relationship than I think anyone else could say they have. And if my sources are correct, a fellow Liverpool fan, please welcome Michelle to the show. Michelle, how are we today?
I'm good. I'm even happier to know that you're a Liverpool fan. We're going to Paris.
I know. It feels so good to be back, especially with everything happening with like Mo Salah and like the contract situation, if he'll be back. I told myself not to forget this, but behind me, like way back, because I'm actually in my room. I'm not in the Australian outback right now.
Okay.
Way back there, I have like a poster of Liverpool when they made their last CCL run. So back when they had like Daniel Sturridge, I'm going to have to look. It's hidden away now. But yeah, who's your favorite player if you had to pick one?
Oh, I mean, my all-time, my first love of Liverpool probably would have to be Michael Owen back in 1998.
You have me beat. I was gonna say
I have the Liverbird tattooed on me on my back.
Really?
I don't know whether you saw it. Yeah. So
yeah. What?
It's on my back. Yeah.
How did I not notice that? Now I'm gonna have to rewatch the show and everything.
It's definitely like where the shirt is. They have the Liverbird. Like, that's exactly where mine is. Literally here. Do you see it?
If
you can see it.
Oh, you got it red. Oh, yeah. What? This is amazing right now. You'll never walk alone, Michelle. You'll never walk alone.
I'm so excited. Okay, we have to go back to Survivor chat. I can talk about Liverpool all day.
No, this is
Firmino. Firmino is my favorite.
Well, I was just gonna say I didn't even get into, even though I played 8 years of soccer, I didn't even get into or football, whichever one. I didn't even get into it until that CCL match they had with Real Madrid when Gareth Bale had that unreal goal. That was my first, like, my friends were trying to get me into European soccer. I said, okay, I'll watch the Champions League final this weekend. Yeah. So I watched that match, and even though they lost, I fell in love with Liverpool, their fans, and I was like, this club, I looked into the club and the song, and I was like, this atmosphere is just phenomenal. Been a Liverpool supporter ever since.
I'm so happy to hear that.
So yeah,
you have to like, to be a Liverpool supporter, you have to persevere, and you get a lot of disappointment. So, you build a lot of resilience.
Since then, I've had, there were some disappointing times, but every time I get down, I think of that Barcelona comeback where they had to win. Oh,
yeah. Well, you should watch back. I don't know whether you've seen like the 2005 Champions League final in Istanbul.
Okay.
Just like, don't Google the score. Just watch the highlights.
All right.
And you're just going to be like, that's the best game that I've ever watched in my life.
All right. Well, I'm out right now with the shoulder injury. Like, I can't work and everything, and I've got surgery coming up. So I know what I'm going to be watching, and then I'm going to message Michelle what I think of the game. So let's get to why everyone is here, though, and that is the Survivor talk. Because I know if you guys don't know Liverpool supporters, we will talk for hours about Liverpool. So let us know. I know a little bit about what you've been up to, but what have you been up to since being on the show and since it's aired now?
Wow. So filming ended late last November. I got back, and then my now husband proposed to me like a week after, like saying, never leave me again. So gave me a ring. And then we got married in February the 22nd. So it's like 2/2/2/2 at 2:00. Well, we eloped. And then we decided to have our honeymoon in Fiji. So we just got back last week we went away for 1 week. So it's like a delayed honeymoon.
Did you
So
have
it
any
was good.
like survivor moments while you were out there where you like, see, this is what I had to go through? Now you filmed your season in Australia, but you could kind of be like, see, this is what we have to go through, or was it all? I mean, it couldn't have been the same at the resort and everything.
It was a pretty lush resort, but they had machetes to open the coconuts, and I'm like, oh, your machete is so sharp. I'm like, oh, when I had a machete, it was quite blunt, and they were like, you had a machete?
I heard about that. I heard the machetes out there aren't as good as like everyone thinks. Like they aren't as sharp.
No, I think they gave us the rustiest ones on purpose.
Oh yeah. Anything to make you guys struggle. But I have to say, I know I messaged you about it. Huge congratulations. That's incredible. I saw the ring. I saw the ring while you were talking there. It's a nice ring, everyone. If you're not watching the video form, it's a nice ring. So congrats to
and
you guys.
thank you. And actually, what a funny thing is that we don't really know like who buys the wedding rings. So so I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna use like the like supplementary money from like, you get from like going per day on Survivor.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, I'll buy the rings. And it calculated to 19 days of blood, sweat, and tears for this wedding ring. So
it worked out.
You'll remember this forever.
Were you expecting the proposal a week after? Were you like, it might be coming soon, or what? Did it catch you completely off guard?
I knew that it was kind of weird. Like we had already known that we're going to elope like back in June. So I knew that it had to happen between June and February. So I was like at camp, I was like, yeah, and then I'm getting married in February. Look at me shredding for the wedding early. And then they're like, but you're not engaged. I'm like, no, but I'm getting married.
Oh man.
So I knew it was gonna happen, but I just didn't know when.
I can't. Now I'm mad at everyone who got you out of the game because we know the family visit came. We could have saw like a Survivor proposal.
Yeah, I would have been very disappointed with that one. So I rather have.
You're like, I'm starving out here. Yeah, big question. Yeah, no, I got you. Well, congrats again. And then, so I want to know before we get actually into your game and what happened during your time in the game. What got you into Survivor? I love hearing the stories of how everyone got into the show. So what got you into it?
Full credit has to be given to my sister, Mel, Melissa to me, Mel to everyone else. She is one of the biggest Survivor fans ever. We used to actually watch it back in the day, like the US Survivors, like the first couple of seasons together, along with our childhood best friend B. But then me and my friend B, like we kind of grew out of it, but Melissa just kept persevering on. I mean, she's such a huge fan. So when the opportunity came up that, twins, would be a great casting choice for it to go on the show, it was a very easy decision for me to join her. So I'm not exactly like the biggest fan on Survivor, but I know what it is, but I just needed like a refresher course on it.
Did you, before going into the game, did you have to have you watched past seasons and stuff like, hey, we got to get ready to go?
I watched the last Australian Survivor, the one where Haley won. I watched that. I watched a little bit, but to be honest, I was slammed at work. I was working because I work across time zones. I was being slammed left, right, and center. So even, we had to do quarantine on the way there in Queensland, and I was still working all the way up till the hour that I had to switch off my laptop.
Oh, so, wow.
Not a lot of preparation was done on my part, but I kind of knew what was going to happen. But I should have probably prepared more.
You answered my next question in that like entire statement too, because it was going to be, I always like to ask who's the bigger Survivor fan out of the two, and you said Mel.
Mel, hands down. I mean, when we turned, I think I went to Fiji. Like I went to Fiji just now, but before that, we were in Fiji together for our birthday. And I said I was not living in Australia at the time. I was living in Hong Kong, and I was flying down to visit her. And I said, where do you want to go for our birthday? And I said, I want to go to Fiji. And she goes, if you want to go to Fiji, I know that they filmed Survivor on Mana Island. So we're going to Mana Island.
It's like a requirement. It's
Yeah.
like, we're going on vacation. We're going here. Yeah.
Yeah. So that was like the prereq, and I was like, okay. And then that's how much she loves the game. Like to get her out of Australia, I had to bring her to an island where they film Survivor.
I would be the exact same way. I'm like, I don't care if I have to swim over there. We're getting to that location one way or another. And let me just say, everyone, that it is amazing. So the hardest part about covering Survivor Australia and getting to interview people, I love it, not complaining at all. But the hardest part is the time zone difference. So I loved when we were setting this up. Michelle's like, I got you. I work time zones. I know exactly what we're doing here. So it worked out perfectly. That was like a nice, refreshing, opportunity to have someone understand the time zone difference. So that was
good. I was like, Eastern Daylight Time, I got you.
She was like, you can wake up at 6 a.m., right? I'm like, yeah, I can. I got you. So let's kind of get into the game. Now, entering the game, give me the raw emotion when it hits you, when you're standing on the mat, you're looking across, you're seeing JLP, and you notice you've made it. You're about to take part in the biggest social experiment on television. What was going through your mind?
Gosh, like going all the way back. Well, they didn't really show it, but actually I was the first one to travel down to the mat. So I had like very clear instructions on how to get there, and it was quite lengthy. So the first like half of it, I was like, don't mess it up, don't trip, look where you're going. And then when I got onto the mat and then I saw JLP and saw, at that time, 22 other people, I was like, oh, this is actually real. It's not on TV anymore. Like this looks familiar yet unfamiliar. Like it was a pretty surreal experience. But I looked at my sister and I saw how happy she was, and that was like enough for me.
You're like, I could be eliminated now, and I'm happy.
Give me a week here, and I can go back to work.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. You're like, yep, I get what you're saying exactly. And the thing is, we were doing our cast assessment video. Myself and my fellow co-anchor Abraham, who also competed on the US version of the show. And we both said it's going to be very hard for you guys entering the game because of the whole twin aspect of it all. Do you feel that kind of made it harder for you guys entering the game being twins, just because, people look at twins, they have twin ingenuity and stuff like that. So do you think that makes it a little bit harder being twins entering the game?
I don't know. I think there's a lot of people that actually like either they truly believe that we have this twin thing, and then there's other people that actually like think it's a whole load of baloney. So, I mean, I know how my sister feels. I can feel it and she can feel it. I don't know whether people thought that was an advantage. I think being twins, people just kind of lump us as one person. But I don't know. I don't think that it was going to be that big of a problem because, we were on different tribes anyway. So
split up right at the start. I'll just say I'm a believer. I believe that twins can feel pain and stuff. And that's why I was like, you're not going to like me saying this. I guess I should apologize for this. But I was like, if I'm in the game, the twins are going first. I am eliminating one of the twins. So I am so sorry. It's nothing personal. I'm just like, we cannot leave two twins in the game. We can't do it.
I think people just probably underestimated how much we can actually say and across the map from each other. Everyone had their own like sign language and things. We just had to look at each other and we like knew what is going on. So
I also heard, I didn't write this down, but I heard that, I can't remember when I was talking to, who was I talking to? I was talking to Nina. Yeah. And she told me that one of you guys, either you or your sister, you guys know a lot of languages. So she would try to say some stuff in Spanish. And I can't remember.
I understood it.
Yes. Yeah, so
it was me.
You caught her in the act. How was that?
I mean, I think it was more like Sandra wanting to say something to Nina in Spanish. And then I was like, oh, okay. You said snake.
Did you point it out that you knew Spanish?
I think people knew that I knew a lot of languages, and I think I may have told people that I could like at least understand enough Spanish to get by. So, yeah, like it takes me like a few days to get into it, but like I am pretty good with languages, so I can pick up words and I know what you're saying. But I think I told people. I can't remember.
How many languages do you know off the top of your head?
I mean, fluently English.
Mm.
Um, Sign language, like Australian Sign Language.
Mm-hmm.
Like my parents have like different Chinese dialects. So then there's like, that's already two. And then
Yep.
there's like Mandarin that I can understand. And then Cantonese, I understand it. So that's already like, that's more than five. Let's just say like, just say more than
I
five.
am impressed because I remember going back to my school days, my high school days. It's Spanish class. I had to take Spanish, and just knowing English and Spanish did not work out. Like I'm like, I can't do two languages. So I'm impressed. But I did want to ask as well. We had a couple fan questions about this. So if you asked this, I didn't forget about you guys. We just kind of looped it all into one here. You guys were victim early on in the game to a purple edit, which for everyone who doesn't know what that means, basically you are not shown that much on the show. Watching it back, did this bother you guys? Like, what did you guys think of the edit you guys received early on in the game?
I mean, I can't really comment on my sister, but definitely for me, I knew that I did things, particularly in the OG Blood tribe, that didn't get shown or got credited to somebody else in the tribe, such as different moves and, finding, being there when there's an idol being found. That I, also held. And then, there were points that, in the water cage fighty thing, I actually went up. It wasn't 4-0. It was actually, I jumped and got a flag for our tribe that didn't get shown. So I think the first 2 weeks, like the first few episodes, I was getting a little bit bummed out because I was like, what else can I do to be able to be on the show?
Yeah.
Especially in that first half. And like, I don't know why, but after that, I was like, you know what? I surrender myself to the edit. The edit is one perception about what happened. My perception of what happened is something else, and I can take my memories and let the edit be the edit.
Well, that's the thing too. Like a lot of casual fans, they watch the show and we all love them. You're still fans of the show. You still support it, but they don't look past that edit, and they base the game and who they support and who deserves to win and stuff like that based off what is shown. And that's why you really have to look past the edit, because this stuff happens that people are just under edited at times, especially in Australian Survivor. I feel when there's like so many people competing, it's so hard to get everyone's screen time. But I do want to ask as well, early on in the game, who were you closest with? Because from what I gathered, it seemed like you were close to Sandra a little bit, but I don't know if that's the case.
Sandra and I were extremely close, but actually it was Sandra, me, and Kate.
Oh,
Kate, Andy's little sister, Kate.
Yeah.
We actually hung out as a trio a lot in those first couple of, like that first week, as well, when Kate was around. Kate was like my encyclopedia in the game. She knew every season of every episode of every interaction.
Wow.
And yeah, she was amazing. And then there's Sandra, who's obviously the Bible of this whole game. So I was just in the middle absorbing as much information as I could, but we became very close in those first few days. Sandra was my sleeping buddy. She slept next to me.
That means a lot on the show. Whoever your sleeping buddy is, that does mean a lot.
Yeah. And then, Nina tells me that, oh, if my mom is close with you, she sees potential and all that. So I'm like this is after the show, when we were hanging out in Australia. But, Sandra and I were extremely close. It was really fun to just hang out with her. She takes no bullshit. She's just an amazing person.
Oh, man. So that Kate, and I love Kate. Thank you.
Yeah.
She's like a huge supporter of the show. Love you, Kate.
Oh yeah.
So that wasn't like, I thought that vote out was kind of easy for everyone, but you're saying that she was very close to Sandra and you. So did you guys really want to keep her by, and there was just no way that you could have at that second tribal or third
I don't
tribal?
know
What would have
whether
been the third? Yeah.
I mean, I can share this. I mean, you know, in the Sandbag challenge where
Yes.
they were carrying things and Sandra and I happily sat out without
I was
us.
going to say, you guys lucked out in that challenge. Yeah.
Thank you. And then, yeah, that's my favorite challenge. And then Kate was carrying they were like 20 kilos, so like about 40 pounds, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And she was carrying the sandbag over something, and she actually cracked 2 ribs. So she was in a lot of pain, but she wanted to get through to the first tribal, at least get to a tribal. But they also, you know, didn't I don't know whether I don't know whether it was like believed that she cracked her ribs or it was like sprained, but it was definitely cracked. And it was found out later that she cracked the ribs. And she was in a lot of pain. Actually, in that first vote, it was supposed to be like people wanted Sandra out. It was Sandra and Kate, and I remember being like, I don't know who to pick. Like,
let's
Sandra
just do
Kate?
no one.
Let's just do. Thank you, Dave, for exploding, because then I can put somebody else's name down. So, but you know, I was like sad to see Kate go, but she was also in so much pain. So,
see,
yeah, like you could see. Yeah,
they never show like all the pain. Like I'm finding out Kate had, you know, rib issues. Dave apparently had a couple rib issues. So they don't talk about
broke her ankle.
She broke her ankle
on day 7.
Oh my gosh. See,
that's why when
oh, go ahead.
And then when the edit was like, oh, she's weak at challenges, like, yeah, she's got a broken ankle.
Yeah, they don't tell us that part. They don't tell us that part.
Yeah.
See, that's what, and us Survivor fans, myself included, I'm still like, I want to go out there. I want to compete. And I'm not an outdoorsy person. And I'm like, I just watched a guy on the US season dislocate his shoulder and pop it back in and continue to play. I dislocated my shoulder pretty bad, and I've been out of work for a couple months now. So it's like 2 different. I always hear these like pain stories, and I'm like, do I want to go out there? Yeah, I think I do.
Yeah, I think you should. I had a concussion day 11.
Did that happen on like a challenge?
Yeah, it happened at the sumo pushing challenge, the one that so I was going up against Chrissy, and then Siri is talking. I went up against Chrissy at the sumo challenge, and I slipped and just hurt my head.
What was the hardest part for future fans who want to go out there? What's the hardest part about being out there?
I think the combination of being away from all your loved ones, and you know that even though you're across the mat, you're still not technically not communicating with them.
Well, and then you have that loved one, but then there's still everyone back at home and stuff. Yep.
And it was lockdown, and it was pretty rough for all the loved ones to be alone, especially like now husband was left alone in this apartment and couldn't go out. So, that was really rough to know that was happening. And then for me to be in like maskless in Queensland. I think the manipulation and the lying was really tough for me. So I don't really do that in real life. Just have thick skin and try to, I don't know, like
try to push through.
Like,
I can't even imagine the hunger. I get the heat a lot. People said the heat was terrible.
It's pretty hot, and the heat, and then the like no food, and then the lying and the manipulating, just that combination, and like being away from loved ones during lockdown and knowing that they're there and you're here. Yeah, it was just tough all around.
This game doesn't sound fun at all.
Thank God for the prize money.
Right, exactly. And all you guys wonder, why people get money from this, and that's why, because you really do suffer. And like, again, stuff that you might not look at if you're just looking at a game point is once you're done with the game, I imagine your digestive system is off and everything because you haven't been eating, and I would never eat rice again. I'll just say that.
I just ate rice tonight. So I mean, I'm Asian, so
I love rice. I do, but I'm like, if I'm out there and just eating rice, I imagine I couldn't eat it that much more once after the game. But let's jump. Oh, go ahead.
Oh no, I was gonna say, like, I didn't drive for like a month. I was like scared of driving. I was like not very used to light, sound. Couldn't open a sliding door to save my life.
That's the thing. They say, like, once the game ends, everything's kind of like, I keep saying in terms of Juryville, and I was going to get to that later. I'm like, that bed has to be like the best sleep anyone's ever had. And I've had multiple castaways say, you would think that, but no, you can't really sleep. Like, it takes so much time to adjust to everyday life again.
Yeah, I mean, I think I was lying on the floor a fair bit, and then waking up really early. But one thing that Survivor did fix for me was I had insomnia before the show, and I was really worried. So the first week on the show, I was like up all night. I couldn't sleep. And then by the second week and the third week, I was sleeping like a baby. And I haven't taken like melatonin and all that other stuff I used to take to go to bed.
Even in the shelter, like that can't be the most comfortable thing, that shelter, even though you guys did have a pretty good shelter built. I'm like, that can't be the easiest night's sleep.
No, it was, just like that whole week. It was like, it just didn't sleep.
So let's jump ahead to your sister having to compete. We're talking just a little bit before merge. Your sister had to compete in a fire making challenge against Ben. And I love you're sitting there, you're trying to calm her down. I love everything. You're like, come on, Melissa, you got this. What was the fear was it fear going through your mind at that point about, this could be the end of her game? Or did you know, she's got this, I know she can do this?
My sister and I didn't really communicate about what we can and can't do in terms of Survivor. We even said, even before, like, I'm like, but how are we playing this? And she's like, Michelle, you play your own game and I'll play mine. So I was like, oh, okay. And obviously, so I remember that day because he said something, like JLP said something about fire. So we thought that all of us need to get, really good at making fire. And it was me with the flint at camp. And for half an hour, I could not strike the flint. And everyone was like, oh my gosh, Michelle is really bad at making fire, which is true. Like, I never made the fire at camp. And then, fast forward to that. And then it's my sister against Ben, the fire maker at Blue Tribe.
Oh, he was the fire maker.
Well, I mean, the fire, like, engulfer, I guess.
Yeah.
Like, he was able to make fire, but he'd also make fire go really big as well. So I was like, oh, and then I think everyone, including me, was like, if my sister is as good as me making fire, Ben's coming back.
This is gonna be a no contest. No offense, Michelle. No offense.
No, none taken. I'm like not very good at making fire, and I will admit that. So that was running through my head. Like, is she as good as me at making fire? Because I'm really terrible at it. But actually, I have to give credit to like Mark was actually helping her a lot, which didn't make the edit. Like, he was actually helping her throughout that process and was sitting closer. Whoa. And actually, everything that I was saying out of my mouth, apart from the stand of the fire, that was like my only comment that I gave her out of my own mouth. The rest was actually Khan whispering in my ear what to say.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So that was the thing too. It was an exciting fire making challenge. If I remember, they were blocking the wind and stuff, and it was back and forth the entire time. It was a good fire making challenge.
Yeah, I'm pretty proud of how she did it. And I was actually surprised. And I think I didn't know how to feel because I think I was preparing myself that she was going to leave. And then when she actually did it, I was like, oh my gosh, she did it.
So if you're stuck on a deserted island with Mel and Michelle, you know where to go for the fire. So we can jump ahead then to when we make the merge. you guys, that is a huge accomplishment in terms of Survivor. That's one of the milestones. And you guys were one of the few pairs. I think there was 4 or 5 that made it to 4. Yep. That made it to the merge together. So as soon as you get back and you guys can start talking to each other and everything, was that kind of, okay, we're working together from the start? Were you guys kind of merging your alliances? Where were you guys at in the game once you got back to camp from that $60,000 reward challenge?
It was that $60,000 challenge was just so unattainable in my head, because in my head I was like, it's a barbecue. and, then when it was like, it's $60,000, I'm like, what? No, what did I hear that?
I've never heard about a Survivor doing that. You're gonna win $60,000 here.
Isn't that second place? Like Khan came second in terms of prize money.
I said once Khan won that, I was like, okay, if I'm Khan, I'm going balls to the wall in the game now. Like I'm causing chaos. I've got money. It's whatever.
Yeah. I think what was interesting is that I always felt a little bit like uncomfortable. I think Melissa was feeling uncomfortable in her tribe. I mean, knowing that she was the last person that they wanted to vote out, I knew that, I felt that I played enough of a social game that I was actually quite like close with, a few of them, to the point where we went to tribal so many times before merge, and I still kind of like scraped through. I don't know how, but I was still, I think I played enough of a social game. I didn't nobody brought up my name. And you
switched tribes too. You guys had to switch tribes. You went to water and she went to blood.
Yeah, to make even, more things confusing for everyone. But I knew, I heard, I could feel like her name was like coming up a lot. I could feel the uncomfortableness. And, when we got to merge, she was always quite next to me the whole time. And I was like, you should be like with other people. You shouldn't always be next to me. Something is wrong. So I knew from very early on that, that I don't know what she did or how people perceived that she needed to go, but it didn't, I was like, oh, now, and then now everyone thinks it's like me and Mel. It's like, we're together. So I'm like, I felt really awkward while she was there.
Well,
I think also we didn't live together since we were like, I don't know, 2007 was the last time I lived with her. So it's so it's like living in the same space, and then she's always next to me, and I'm like, this is not what it usually is like.
Yeah, so something's up here. Well, she got looked at like pretty early on in the merge as being like this huge strategic threat. And my co-anchor, Abraham, who I did that cast assessment with, and he covered the entire season with us, he loved you guys. He kept saying, watch out for the twins. Even every time we talked about, you guys weren't being shown early on in the game and stuff, he said, Randy, I'm telling you, watch out for the twins. And it came to light when you guys started getting targeted for being threats. And Mel was the first one to really be targeted. And you guys tried working to get the females together. So walk me through kind of that plan. I'm talking kind of the latter days of when Mel was in the game.
Yeah. Did
you guys know there was an opportunity to kind of break the alliance that was happening, or was this kind of like a last ditch effort?
I think it was kind of a Hail Mary effort. I think that, out of the girls, obviously Sam is with Mark, and then Chrissy was actually very close with Josh. And, Shay was also very close with Josh as well. So I think it was really and I think my sister went from, it was like male strong, it seems, at the Blood Tribe 2.0, that she maybe thought that if it was females to, try to topple whatever, that, it was a very much a Hail Mary sort of effort. Like, Josh told me my name was coming up.
Yeah.
And
I was like, what are you doing? When he's like, well, yeah. I was like, what are we doing, Josh?
Yeah. So Josh told me, but I think others said, like, because you can feel it. You know, like, so how, you know, how many people are writing, you know, and even like Jordy came up to me saying, sorry, Mish, I got to write your name down. And I was like, no worries, Jordy, I'm going to write your name down because I can't write my sister's name. So, and I was, you know, I was quite close with Sam at the time. And I said, Sam, you need to tell me if this plan is gonna go through, because like I'm not throwing any of these other people's name under the bus, and I'm not gonna throw my sister's name. And she's like, it's not gonna work. That's before tribal. So
See,
even before tribal.
I thought it was a great plan. Like looking at, you know, at that moment, you have Josh, Jordan, Jesse, Jordy, Mark, I assume Sam as well. So I was looking at that. So I'm like, this could be like a pagonging thing where they just take people out one by one, which it was for a little bit. But when Mel started speaking about that alliance, I'm like, okay, she's making a lot of sense here. Like, why are we not, you know, forming together? So I thought it was a great plan from you guys, whether it was last minute or not.
Yeah, no, I think that it made sense for like the overall eagle eye viewer, as in, you know, you could see the numbers and whatever, but then there was all these, you know, different complex relationships with other people that didn't really get shown in the edit, and only if you were there you would realize that that plan was never going to work because of all these, you know, close relationships with others. That
they made it seem that it was like, oh, what's gonna happen at tribal. So it doesn't shock me though that you were like, nah, it just never really came together. But I want to hear from your side of things. You got voted out twice this season, but you got a second chance when it came to the purgatory twist. So what was purgatory like? Because the last person I asked about that, I guess the only other person was Shay, and Shay was like, it was not fun. So I wanted to get your perspective on purgatory.
I mean, I was only there for one night. So
That's fair.
I was only there for one night. It was raining that night. I honestly was there the night, and then the morning we went for the challenge.
Oh, wow.
So I wasn't even there I think I was probably there for less than 12 hours.
That's how you do purgatory.
Yeah.
So
it's like a retreat experience that nobody wants to go to. But, you know, I was with them. I mean, I woke them up because I was like, I need to tell you guys everything that's been happening. And then, you know, telling them that 3 people are going to go, and like I'm the 4th one, the last one person there. I think purgatory, I mean, it looks rough. And it felt rough. Like I remember like going to jury, and I still had the black whatever marks on my legs and my arms. It was pretty barren and pretty, like the floor felt like sharp concrete when you were sleeping. Yeah,
you said it was,
but
pouring,
they found these.
It was pouring down rain the night you went.
It was raining enough that I'm like, I'm wet now. So,
yeah.
But they did find this like weird, this small like sour berry tree that tasted like sour berries, like the gummy. So then they cut that into the rice. That was interesting. That we didn't find that at the other camp. So I mean 12 hours, less than 12. I bet you it's less than 12 hours. So it was pretty gross though. I mean, no running water. If I had to stay there any longer, I think I would have similar views to Shay.
Well, you got up that next morning for that challenge. Did you guys expect, was 3 the number that you guys were expecting to go back into the game, or what were you personally expecting JLP to have for you guys?
I mean, he told us that 3 people were coming back at tribal. So I was like, oh, and then I think they found a clue at the well on their side of the purgatory that said 3 people are returning.
Okay.
So, which didn't get shown. So they also knew, but they didn't know when. I was like, it's tomorrow. Because that's what we found out at tribal. And I was like, you know, when I said bye, I was like, see you guys tomorrow. So, yeah, I wasn't surprised because we got told that. So I'm like 3 people back, and I was just, you know, we were all very much saying to each other, like, we got to stick tight, you know, don't fall back to the majority. Like, we got to do something. Whoever goes, you know, you have to. And I remember telling all of them, like, you guys, when you go back, you have to talk to Juicy Dave. He's the guy that will flip. And I kept saying it to them because I spent like,
That was you.
yeah. Yeah. I was like, you need to go talk to him. You need to go talk to him. It's him. It's him. You need to, I think I got it nearly. Like, that's what, yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
before we talk about your end game, or the end of your time in the game, was there a moment that didn't get captured that it might have been that moment that you just said, that how you're saying Juicy Dave will flip? Was there a moment in the game that you felt most proudest of, or that was your biggest move in the game?
Oh, wow. I think my biggest move in the game, which didn't get shown, was probably in OG Blood when the first Sophie blindside was not actually orchestrated by Sandra. It was actually done by me and Amy in the hammock. And Jay, I think, was also there. Yeah.
Was that just you guys wanting to like make a big move on Sophie, or was that kind of like, well, we just got to get Sophie out of the game?
I think at that time, because we actually spent a lot of time not going to tribal, we actually all as a tribe became really close. And I think like Sophie and I are like, you know, our friends now out, you know, outside of the game. But I felt like in the game, it looked like she was playing two sides. There was like the boy, like the Ben and Croc and
Jordan.
Croc and Jordan. Yeah. And then, you know, would also talk with like me and like Sam and like Amy and everybody. So we were like, and I think it was more about cohesion at that time. So we decided to call it, and we spent 2 or 3 days on it too. And we called it Operation Hammock. So we would not address Sophie as Sophie. We would just say hammock, and we'll just talk about like throwing hammocks away and like fixing hammocks. But then this one could be a little bit broken. So we all had this like code name, and we would just look at each other. Like, you know, Jay and I would walk past the water and would be like, hammock. So it was
that's brilliant. That's like, brilliant play.
That blind side, that their reaction, like the boys and Sophie's reaction, is genuinely they had no idea it was coming. So I felt like that's what I wanted to do. I was like, play one big move early, fade away after that a little bit, and then, you know, move on from there. But the TV told another story. So
on the mirror side of that, I do have to ask, I know a lot of people, and great way to live your life is not looking back on like regrets and stuff. But do you have any regrets or any moments in the game that you're like, I wish this went this way, and, you know, other than the way that it did?
No, I don't have any regrets on anything that I have done. I've heard my sister say in the past, like about the Khan vote, that if she had told me about the Khan vote, because I actually didn't even know that about the Khan vote. I actually thought it was Shay that was going. It was just me and Khan, apparently, that were the only people that didn't know.
That doesn't make you feel in a good position moving forward.
Like, and then I was like, I wish that my sister told me about it, and then I would have told Khan about it, because Khan and I grew close at Water 2.0.
You said Khan was speaking in your ear during Mel's fire thing, so that doesn't shock me that you guys were close.
He's a really, really good guy, and there were these plans on like how to use his, like, you know, his public idol to like take out somebody, and those are like going into fruition, and I thought like, great, this is what's going to happen. So, you know, I feel like if she had told me, then maybe like I would have told him. play your idol tonight. So because I would have told him. As my sister said, I didn't want to tell my sister because she would have told Khan. I'm like, yeah, that's true. I would have told him.
Well, that's the thing about like siblings. Like, we know each other so well, and especially, you know, you guys being twins and everything, you know yourselves even more. But me and my brother, if we went on the show, we would have voted each other out first week. I'm telling you. Was there ever a moment that you guys were like, we got to go our separate ways, or was it always, you know, we're going to work together as sisters?
No, it was never working together as sisters until she got to merge, and I think she realized that she had me, I think. But that's just my opinion from what I saw. And it was
Mhm.
really hard to see her leave and knowing that she was going to go home. Like there was one part of me that was really sad because these people are taking her dream away. That's what I kept
Yeah.
thinking. And then there's a part of me that's like, yes, I beat her.
We were gonna get to that a little bit later. I love asking this question because of blood versus water. Was there kind of a rivalry, like, kind of poking fun, like, hey, I beat you, or was it kind of humble and stuff? I just keep getting the humble response. I want someone to say, oh yeah, I let them know I beat him.
Oh, I tell her all the time. Like, remember that time where I went on your favorite TV show and beat you? I haven't said that in a while, but Melissa, are you listening? Remember that time with the TV
I
show?
hope she's listening to this. Yeah.
Yeah. So, this is the ultimate trump card for me for life. So,
Love it. Well, your time in the game officially comes to an end on day 36, although you're still on the jury. You still have a say in who walks away with the grand prize. Which I do have to say, day 36, that's impressive. The American version of the show is 39 days. So if we go off that, you're finishing like final five.
Final four.
Yeah, exactly. So you vote for Mark. The vote was unanimous. So really quick, I didn't even write this down, but I do want to know, was there any chance that your final vote was going to go to anyone else, Shay or Chrissy, or was it going to be Mark unless something miraculous happened?
I actually went into that final tribal with a very open mind, with a slight lean towards Shay, only because she had been in purgatory and she didn't really have the cruisiest experience compared to the other two. Didn't really know Mark or Chrissy. I spent time talking with Shay. I mean, Chrissy a little bit, but I didn't really have a lot of interactions with Mark. So, that's how I was thinking in my mind. But I was still extremely open to whoever was getting my vote. I just needed to hear what people had to say, whether they could defend what they did, or
excuse me,
highlight their faults, or could speak eloquently about their experience. And by the end of it, I was like, it's Mark.
Wasn't it? I could be completely wrong, and it was so long ago. I'm trying to look back at it. Wasn't it you or your sister who asked Shay the question, or kind of pointed light, like, how good was your game on a scale of 1
to 10? Yeah, I asked that question to actually all three of them.
Okay.
So Mark first answered, and he said that he was an 8 because of this, but he would deduct points because of this, whatever it was. Then I think it was Chrissy next, and she said, I also give myself an 8 because of my social game, and I'm here. Then Shay answered the last, and she said, I will also give myself an 8. You know what? I'm gonna give 0.5 more.
That was painful, because just seeing everyone's like looks on their faces, and then she's like, no, I'll add 0.5, and it's like, I felt at that point, I'm like, Shay, I think you don't stand a chance here.
Yeah, I was because in that answer, what I was looking for was honesty. Like, if you really, I didn't want people to like say a number because they want to be the same number as someone else that wanted to say a number. I wanted it to be like, no, I'm like, you know what? I played a 6. Or, you know what? With 10 being the greatest player of all time. And then, but I think I liked Mark's answer the most because he actually talked about deducting and why he deducted points from himself, whereas the other two just talked about their. I grew up in an Asian household. We always get told like, what's wrong with us. Yeah. So that's what I also look at. I'm like, what can you tell me that you did wrong?
Yeah. You didn't play this game perfect. You can't be an 8 and play this game absolutely perfect. Yeah.
So that's what I was kind of looking for. I was looking for like, true like reflecting on, I work at a university, And with my students that I work with, they always have to reflect on their performance, and they actually get graded on the ability to reflect on their own performance. And that's what I was going in to see when I asked that type of question is, can you reflect on your performance accurately and truthfully?
I love it. I love it. So tell me a little bit. I haven't asked anyone about this, and I can't believe I haven't. So you have the honors of being the first person because Jury Villa looks incredible and it looks super fun. And I actually haven't really asked anyone what's it like being at Jury Villa with everyone kind of outside the game. I know there's still some talk about, you know, what's happening in the game and everything, but what was that like to be at Jury Villa, have that moment, you have your phone call, you said you slept on the floor a little bit, but you have a nice bed you can sleep in. And I'm also interested, I have asked this, what was the very first thing you ate leaving the game?
Probably pizza.
That's
probably the pizza.
That's a good one.
Yeah. For some reason, I was craving pizza, and then they actually found like one of those like frozen pizzas to put in the oven. I had a gin and tonic. I remember that was my drink, but I couldn't drink it. I was like 2 sips, and I'm like, I'm done. I can't.
I always wonder about like alcohol stuff out there, especially when you're in the game. And I'm like leaving. I mean, it's got to be like one drink and you start feeling.
Yeah, I'm done. Yeah. So, and I think it was the fizziness of the tonic water that really got to me. Yeah. But no, Jury Villa was actually a lot of fun. It really was. You know, it was a shame that I think from like Sam's episode onwards, you didn't really get to see our outings as much. Because like, you know, for Juicy Dave's, we went to like Ravenswood pub and we like had a ball down at the bar, you know, drink, you know, just dancing around and stuff. And then we went to like another pub that had like, you know, like that rodeo bull thing.
I still want to do
it. Did Jordan tell you he lost?
No, he didn't. We didn't. That's why I said I can't believe I haven't asked this. I have not asked anyone about Jury Villa. And the thing is, I'll just say it. I think your Jury Villa was the last one I watched, and I haven't caught up on them. But I kept seeing the pictures just covering the show and stuff. Like I saw the pictures with you guys in the dune buggy and stuff like that. So I kind of followed that way, but there was probably a lot that I missed that I haven't seen so far. So Jordan lost on the bull.
Yeah, and so we said whoever like was the shortest, who spent the shortest amount of time like riding that bull, had to like do like a pole dance for all of us.
Oh man,
that was kept. There's some footage out there. I don't know where it is, but
he had to. Knowing Jordan for how much I know him, that wasn't a like punishment to him. He had fun with that. I know he had fun with that.
He's a good sport. Yeah, like, you know, Jordan's episode, we went to Magnetic Island, we went snorkeling in the Great Barrier Reef. Sam's episode, we went to like a water park, and we actually made it into like a challenge. Like she was JLP, and we went on this water park obstacle course. You know, we went, and then like for Juicy Dave's, we went to like Ravenswood pub. Geordie's, we went to the Mechanical Bull. And I think after that, we stopped going out. That was the last one, I think. I think
how come?
KJ onwards.
Oh, that's so sad.
Yeah.
No, but it looked like a good time. And that's the thing. Like, you guys might not have been in the game, but who's the real winners here? They're out there starving, and you guys are having like these awesome moments that are going to stick by forever.
Oh yeah, and having Khan as like the mayor of Jury Villa, he like, you know, we would have a spread, but our spread would be even better than anything. And then I would cook cookies. So there's this like thing called Jury Villa cookies. So I would cook like these New York chocolate chip and walnut cookies, like the chunky ones for like the people that would arrive like into the villa. And so that got eaten up pretty quick. Yeah. So
I'm getting hungry cookies. Now. I have had breakfast. I've had a Pop-Tart, but I'm like, I'm still getting hungry now. You know, once you wake up, it's like ready to eat.
Yeah, exactly.
So let's get to some fan questions here before we do our final questions with you.
Sure.
If you guys sent in questions on our Instagram, thank you so much. And thank you, Michelle, for sticking around and answering some fan questions as well. Excuse me, I'm coming over a cold, so I've got tissues and stuff just in case, and I'm starting to get congested. So this question comes from Luis, or maybe Lewis. No, I think it's Luis though. Do you still have your back tan from Survivor? I think this is someone who knows you. That's why I had to ask.
Well, also I uploaded something onto when I was in Fiji, like the back tan, and I was like, can I correct this back tan in 5 days when I'm here? And most people said no, and they're right. It's still there. It's
what?
still there.
Was it okay?
Yeah.
Is it a back tan, or we all know this being on vacation? Is it a back tan, or is it more of a back burn that just kind of turned into a tan?
It is a back tan.
Oh wow!
Oh, now you see the Liverpool
and the Liverpool tattoo. Yes,
Yeah.
we're gonna get back on Liverpool now.
It's a back tan, and that
Oh,
is
wow.
like, that's it's a
Still
back
there.
tan.
How long has
Still
it
there.
been now?
I think
You
5 months.
Wow.
Like November, late November, December, January, February, March, April. Nearly 6 months.
That had to, like, while you were out there, that had to hurt. Like the sun just, oh.
I don't know whether it was tanned. I think it was tanned. It wasn't burnt, but I did have a piece of like dried skin on my shoulder, and it was really dry. And I remember talking to like the show doctor, and I was like, I can't put anything on it. Like sunscreen will make it dry. You can't put moisturizer because it's not allowed or whatever. So then I was like, so what can I do? And he's like, when you're in the water, just get a rock and just exfoliate it.
Really?
Yeah.
See,
so maybe there will be times where I'm just like this in the water because I'm exfoliating my skin with a rock.
Survival tips. Now, if you go on like a hiking journey, exactly. People are going to be like, what is she doing? And you just have a rock there. And you're just like, don't worry. I've learned this. I know what I'm doing here.
Yeah.
So you know that person, right? I think you know that person.
That person is my husband. It's Lewis. I know he said that question.
Yeah, yes. Lewis, I am so sorry for saying Luis now. No, I knew. I pointed it out. I'm like, it's either Luis or it's Lewis. I know Lewis. It's one of the two. Yep.
For sure.
All right. So this one comes from Evie or YV. Again, it could be either or. What was the toughest challenge out there and why? And I think we talked about that a little bit earlier, so I'm sorry for pre-answering. But if you want to take it, you could also say what was the toughest challenge out there that you competed in?
Yeah, the one that I competed in. I would say the one where Sam fainted, the one where you had to stand on those pegs and you had to hold this rolling pin thing with a ball. I didn't last that long because actually my feet are pretty precious, and I'm like, I can't even do this. I don't know how Shay and Khan could just step off like
the pain is much worse than what we think it is, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, especially for people that just had the peg on one area of their foot, I feel like you could lose feeling in there. But it was just, that's probably the one that I look back on and I'm like, that's probably modern day torture.
And you didn't have to compete in the Sandbag challenge, which everyone has been sucked. Everyone except Jordan. Jordan's Jordan
likes it a lot.
Jordan's I don't want to sound cocky, but I didn't have a problem with it whatsoever.
Yeah, he was like a machine going up and down, but I was like, I don't think I could do it because I actually don't have my PCL in my right knee from a soccer injury. So going up sand hills, my knee could not stabilize that with a 20-kilo sandbag. I'm glad I sat that one out.
Is there any other, before we move on from that question, any other super tough thing you want to talk about, being out there? You already talked about the family and stuff, but anything else that was just super difficult?
I mean, just living in the elements, I guess. I mean, we're so used to a bed and electricity and it's just reshifting your mind to basically be a cave woman, just finding things in the land to help you to survive. I think that was really hard. I think my mind changed by day 32 because I was crossing the water and I saw 3 barramundi fish swim by. And then instead of being oh, that's nice, fish is swimming, there's fish in the river, I was thinking lunch. So literally it was lunch. So I'm
Oh
like,
man.
my mind has shifted. Yeah.
And we still
So I
have
think it's just, yeah.
Oh, I was going to
Yeah.
say, we still have people who are like, they're given so much stuff. It's not that difficult. It's really not. It's all fake. Yeah, you get out there. Let's see how fake it is.
I literally had, apart from rice and beans, which is like, 800, 900 calories, like each time or a day.
Yep.
I had one croissant, one cup of tea, two hot dogs.
Those hot dogs had to be like
Nachos.
from heaven. Hot dogs
Oh,
and
yeah.
nachos from heaven.
Yeah, nachos. Yeah, that's why you spent most of the time just like stuffing my face. And then like merge feast.
Pardon me, I probably forgot because, like I said, I go back before setting up these interviews and I do make sure that I hit everything. I think I missed. You went on that family reward, correct? Where you got the video?
Yeah. Yeah, I was there. Yeah, Jordy picked me last and I actually was surprised. And then I actually cried.
I am so sorry. I forgot about that. I would have asked them not to add more questions onto you here because I know we've already spent a pretty good amount of time together here. But how was that having your family just seeing that video and also getting to go on an awesome car ride when you've been stuck out cave woman and all in nature? So yeah, how was that?
That I will always be so like grateful and thankful that Jordy brought me on this like amazing adventure and I got to be in the car and like got to watch. To be honest, they said movie night. Everyone's like, oh yeah, it's gonna be family movies. I didn't really go there. I was like, Jordy, what's your favorite movie that we're watching?
Yeah, what can they be showing us?
I'm like, what's your favorite movie? Because I remember they're like, we had to answer these questions before, but then I was like, no, I'm pretty sure it's something else. But that was my first reaction.
Who was it in the video again? Wasn't it your mom?
It was my mom. Yeah, my mom. She lives in Hong Kong, so it was my mom. Actually, Lewis was there with a cat, but that got edited out. But
it's gonna be a running joke now. If I make it out to Australia or we ever meet up somewhere at a Survivor event or something, I'm going to call him Luis.
Luis. I'll be like, your name is Luis now. Yeah. So what was I saying? I forgot. But
mom lives in Hong Kong. You said the cat. There's a cat. I like cats.
The cat is around here. I'll show her to her later. She's around here somewhere. And then yeah, so he got edited out. The cat got edited out. But my mom stayed. The one thing that I would say, like, I was so like, it didn't make the edit, but like Jordy said that like I knew that he picked me probably for like strategic reasons, but the reason why he said it in front is because he said I had a really tough year, which was true because, and it relates back to the video because my dad passed away like just like a couple of weeks before going to the game, and they live in Hong Kong, and at that time we couldn't even fly back for his funeral, and to fly back and like come back, we didn't even know if we could make it back to play Melissa's favorite game, social game. So it was really tough, and then it was also his birthday when we were out there on day 21.
I was gonna say it was a sad moment that we didn't get to see. But there was a moment where you guys that hit you, and I'm sorry for your loss as well. But I remember that hearing about that his birthday took place while you guys were out there.
Yeah, day 21. So my sister was like, I was pretty beat up before that, like maybe day 18 to 20, but day 21 was hard for my sister. That was when Nina broke her like leg.
So that was the same terrible day all around for you guys.
Terrible day, yeah. So, and in that video, my mom is speaking in the video. And that's behind is my dad's office. So she was like in my dad's office. And that's why I was like, Mom, that's his office. And like, yeah. So it was like a pretty big moment because, everyone has, most of their family members in Australia. But for me and my sister, our family are overseas. We just have each other here. And that's it. So
not to take like a sad moment and like try to make it super happy, but I will say the tough thing about that, and while you're watching the video, is you also have these like delicious nachos and you haven't been eating, so you're just like
yeah, and all you see me in that episode is just me like stuffing my face, and I picked there was like chicken, like 3 chicken ones and 1 bean one, like a vegetarian one. And I picked the vegetarian one because I'm like, my stomach cannot handle meat. Like I'm so
Smart.
used to rice and beans. I'm gonna stick with rice and beans.
I'm like, every time I watch a reward, whether it's like pizza or chicken parmesan, it's like, I'm like, you guys can't feel good going back to camp. That cannot be like a fun night at camp. It's like, especially when I see burgers, I'm like, is that burger going to be worth it in like 4 hours?
Yes. Yes.
Never turn down food, but yeah. No, it was awesome. Thank you for sharing that story. That was awesome to hear. And I really wish they showed that moment on day 21, because that was a beautiful moment. And I know you can't show everything in the edit, but I was like, that's something you can't leave out, is that beautiful moment for you guys.
Yeah, I mean, it's, for me, it was a hard, it was a hard decision to like, do I speak about him? Do I not? Because it was quite an unexpected death, because he died of a heart attack. So it was unexpected, and we was still like mourning at that time, and I was still, I was ready to fly home and not go on Survivor for my mom, and I was like, we're just gonna tell our mom and ask for permission, and if she says no, I'm not going. Like, there's just no way, because to be in lockdown, in Hong Kong as well, they're going through like multiple waves, and she is, and our family is Singaporean. So all our extended family are everywhere else but Hong Kong. So she needed people, and I was willing to fly back, but that would sacrifice going on the show. So I was just like very adamant, like, if mom says yes, then I will go. But if mom says no, I'm not going.
There's always, we always are in love with the game, but there's always bigger stuff outside of it as well.
Yeah.
And I mean, that has a deeper meaning too, is like, you guys are real people playing this game.
Yeah.
And we all know the Survivor community at times can be a little hurtful online and stuff. And we've talked about that. So just remember, there's always bigger stuff happening in the game. Our next question comes from Lockster. What was your biggest fear going on Survivor, and how did you overcome it?
My biggest fear was probably losing to my sister. No, I'm joking.
Mic drop. Thank you guys for joining us.
Yeah, my biggest fear. I think it was mostly, I was afraid of, I don't know what my fear would be. I wasn't fearful of anything.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I was fearful. Probably like those challenges. I was pretty fearful for them. Oh, I was pretty fearful of one challenge. There was one challenge where I had to go down a fireman's pole, and I'm like, I freak out with these fireman's poles.
Oh yeah, it was one of the early puzzles, right? You guys went up and then had to You
had to go down, and I was like, I don't know if I can do it. But I remember like I went through it, and I'm like, that was like my most fearful thing that I did in the whole experience. Yeah.
I know. I'm just one of those people. Like, I'm just a klutzy person. I know that's one of the things. I'd end up breaking my ankle on that. I'd go straight down and land awkwardly.
I think I burnt my hand because I didn't even go like this. I just went
you just down. Straight down.
Yeah.
Oh man. And see a burn on your hand, like in everyday life, it's like, it's okay, we'll be fine. Burn on your hand out at like in the elements also cannot be fun. Well, thank you guys so much for sending your questions, and we still got just a couple more questions for you, and it's questions that we love to ask every castaway who comes on the show, because we do like to look past the edit and stuff, and there's so much. You make some great friends going on the show. We talked about it, some amazing memories. What are you personally going to take away from this, for some people, once in a lifetime experience?
I think for me, because I think I'm a pretty unique person in this game, because it's Australian Survivor, but I only just became a permanent resident not that long ago. So I'm actually like Asian at heart. Like, I just moved to Australia. Moved to Australia last March.
I was thinking while you were playing the game, I'm like, her
Is she
Australian accent. Yeah, I was
It's
literally
not
thinking,
even there.
I'm like, she doesn't have an Australian accent. And so I
No,
was wondering
no.
that.
Yeah, so I only moved here last March. And then because of COVID, I moved. And
Mm.
then June in Sydney went into full lockdown. And you know, it's hard to make friends in your 30s. Like, where do you even make friends when you relocate, you know, 10 hours away from plane flight away
Don't
from
tell
home?
me that. I'm about to be in
Yeah.
my 30s. I'm like, don't tell me that.
Well, just keep your friendships in your 20s. No, I'm joking. And then, you know, it was full lockdown, and then I left to go on Survivor. So the one thing that I will fully cherish is, like, honestly meeting everybody on the show. Like, got, you know, just being able to have people in Australia. And it's not just the current season castaways, it's also the like the former seasons. They have been super supportive throughout the whole process. And I am the only one in Sydney as well. Everyone else is in Melbourne and Queensland. I'm the only person in Sydney.
How
So I
far
have a
how
lot of,
far distance is that? Just for
it's
us
an
who don't know.
hour. I think it's like 11 hours drive to Melbourne. I'm not sure,
Wow.
11 or 13. Yeah. And then, Queensland's another like 11 hours. Like, I'm right in the middle. So,
Oh wow.
but you can fly.
Yeah.
Fly. It's like 2 hours north, and it'll be in Queensland, and like 1 hour to Melbourne. But you know, I didn't have like this season. They're all living not in Sydney, so I've been hanging out with a lot of the previous season contestants, and they've been really helping me through like the edits and like watching the show and things like that. So everyone's been very supportive. So now I have like my own little network of people that I didn't have before this.
That's how you make friends, is you just go on Survivor and starve together.
Yeah, just, you know, like, what else do you do when you relocate to a country? You go on a TV show.
How is it? You enjoying Australia? I hear it's beautiful.
Yeah, you should come visit.
I am trying. I want to. I'm like, this December, I'm like, if I can make it out to Australia for a couple weeks.
Oh my gosh,
when it's like
totally
snowing,
do it.
I'm like, yeah,
Yes,
it would be so fun. I've already been told, like, Brianna and stuff, they're like, you can come hang with us for a little bit. And I'm like, that's the thing. Nina went out there for a while, and I'm like, looks like Australians treat you very well. Like, you guys are so nice.
Nina and I never played a single, like, we had never had an interaction like on the show at all, because we were on different tribes the whole time.
Tribes.
And Nina stayed in this room for like, you know.
That's why I'm like, yeah, I just feel like the hospitality is like amazing and stuff. So yeah, definitely trying to make it out. I'm so mad at myself, because before we get to the final question here, how we always end the show, we talked about this, and I told myself earlier, I think the only reason I forgot is it's so early in the morning, and, you know, just kind of went over my head. Happy Star Wars Day.
Happy Star Wars Day. May
the 4th be with you. Huge Star Wars fan?
Yeah. I mean, I'm going to be in LA late June, and I've already said, like, I'm going to like that Star Wars area in Disneyland in LA because I want to make a lightsaber.
Favorite, I'll just put you on the spot here. Favorite Jedi and favorite Sith or bad guy, whichever way you want to look at it.
You know what? Like, for Sith, like, you know, that the one that was like in Phantom of the Menace, like the red one, like everyone doesn't
Darth
like him.
Maul. Yeah,
but I actually like. I'm like, he's a bit, you know, he's like a little bit I don't know, he's a little bit like misunderstood, and that's why he became like that, I feel. Favorite Jedi? I don't know. It has to be like all of them. I don't know if I can pick one.
Hey, that's fair.
Yeah,
I'll say
they all have their faults.
I'll say mine while you're thinking on it.
Yeah,
you might not even remember mine. He's big in like some of the TV shows and stuff.
Oh, but then I wouldn't know.
Yeah, Kit Fisto. He was one of the guys, you know, when Palpatine like turned bad, and spoiler, but if you haven't seen Star Wars by now, that's your own fault. Yeah, he was one of the guys when Palpatine turned bad, and Mace Windu is like going in to arrest him. Kit Fisto was this green guy with like tentacles on the back of his head, and he died like super fast. So
I can't remember. I have to go back and watch it.
Yeah, you'll have to. Yeah, he died. He was on screen for like 20 seconds. But
Oh my
I
gosh.
really like him. And then favorite bad guy is General Grievous. Like
Really?
he was cool, like steals lightsabers and stuff. And like, he was so cool.
That is like the last one that I would think. Like mine is like the red faced guy in Phantom of Menace. I can't remember his name. But I think he was a misunderstood character. So
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
why
yeah.
he became so angry.
Did you think of a Jedi, or are you going with all of them?
No, I'm gonna get back to you on which Jedi I like the most. I have to like think about it. This is like it's like, you know, when you ask me like who's my favorite Liverpool player, I'm like Michael Owen for sure, but like who now? I love all of them.
That's the
Firmino,
thing. I
maybe
was
a bit
thinking that.
more.
I was like, Sadio
Yeah.
Mane's mine, but then like
Mane, yeah.
but Salah obviously, and then like Virgil van Dijk.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
like Van Dyke. You see, and then like even like Allison. Anyway,
Yeah.
see, that's why I'm like,
See, we'll get right back into it. Trent Alexander-Arnold is like a
oh
stud.
yes,
Ah.
yeah.
See, we'll be all right. We'll be
Okay,
here all day.
sorry.
Yeah.
Back to
No, you're
to non.
That's what this has been. Like I said, it's been an awesome time so far. And the thing is too, we love laid back chats. And I think as like I continue to do podcasts, like this show just started last July. And when I first started interviewing people, little starstruck because I'm a huge fan. And then, but it was so like, okay, get the points across.
I'm a speech pathologist, so I was like, "What?"
I couldn't. My name's Randy, right? And I couldn't say ours when I couldn't say ours when I was growing up. So I went on the radio, and I said, "Hey guys, my name is." It was with like Boy Scouts, and I said, "Hey guys, my name is Wandy Wiggleman." And that stuck by me. Yeah, I couldn't say ours. So sometimes it comes out. But no, like when I started off interviewing people, the points had to like come across. And it was like, all we talked about was Survivor. That's it. And now like, I'm like, I don't know. I just have more fun just talking and chatting and getting to know people outside the game. I'm like, I'll ask the Survivor questions. But yeah, I like Jordan and I spent like 5-10 minutes yesterday just talking about movie quotes.
Oh my god.
Yeah, so it's like
apparently they said a lot of movie quotes.
That's what he said. He said that's why they didn't show it, but that's why they were close, because he was like
the Red 2.0. Yeah,
he's like
had movie quotes.
No one wants to see like an all beefy guys alliance. Like, so they said they were boring and stuff, but he said honestly, it's just we got along together and like we said a bunch of movie quotes.
I believe that. I heard that happened. And on Blue 2.0, we sang a lot and we danced a lot. So like it would be like Sam, Khan, like favorite memory is like Sam, Khan, and we were singing A Whole New World, and I was Aladdin and Sam was Jasmine, and Khan was using my red sarong, but he was the magic carpet underneath.
No. So you put on this. This wasn't just like singing and dancing. This was a whole performance.
Production.
Like you guys.
Well, yeah. I mean, it was a lot of fun. You know, we had a lot of laughs, and that's why when I got to merge, it went from like this like a whole new world to like let's get serious. And I was like not ready for that transformation yet.
Oh man, see this. There are so many things that happen on the island that I really wish we could see. Like. Almost like, do you know the show Big Brother?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. They have the cameras.
They have the live feeds. I know that's not possible. I know it's like you can't have live feeds on the island and stuff like that because the whole show would be, it would throw everything off. But if you could do like, we were saying this, if you on Paramount Plus or like, I don't know if Channel 10 has like an extra streaming service or something like that. If you
have some extras.
If you did something where it's like, 2 hours and it could be like exclusive to Paramount Plus and the extra stuff. And if you did like a hour and a half, 2 hour show of just camp life, I think everyone would tune in.
Oh gosh. Yeah. And our camp life wasn't even boring at times. It was actually like pretty funny. Like day 25, like Sam and I and Chrissy went skinny dipping.
What?
They showed a bit of it. They showed like a tiny
just
bit
a
of
little
it.
bit. But like Survivor Australia, it would work so well for them because Survivor US too. But if you just take all the footage that you don't use, because I know cameras are almost always running
Yeah.
and stuff. If you just take some of the best, so you could leave out the boring stuff, but just take some of the best, like that performance and stuff, and just put
But
it in like an
copyright.
hour. Yeah, true.
But we sang so badly, maybe we don't know.
Maybe
They're
they're
like,
just
you're laughing.
once
We
you
were like,
once you start singing it, maybe they just throw in like their own song. Like it doesn't even match, you know, the mouthing of the words, but they just throw in like the Survivor theme song.
yeah, I know. And then, you know, I mean, they showed the fashion show, so that was one of the extras. So that was something. But yeah, a lot of singing, a lot of laughing, and a lot of dancing. Blue 2.0, and then Red OG was just a lot of like just really good chats about everything and anything, because we didn't go to tribal for 7 days.
Yeah, so that had to be the best feeling in the world. We're like, we don't have to worry about that.
Even like where we put the torches, I was like, what is this, a bar? Like we didn't even have anything there.
One question we love to ask, always to wrap up, and I think this is the perfect way to wrap up our journey together here today, where we've been all over. This talk has been amazing. It has been awesome, Michelle. It's been an honor to have you. But I love to ask every castaway, will we ever see you out there again? Would you ever play again? And I'm interested to hear this because, you know, we get a lot of always been a super fan, but you even said, you know, you're not like a super fan of the show. So would you ever go back out there? Or was this like a one-time thing for it?
This is a one-time thing for me. Like, I appreciate and I completely am thankful for going, and like what an amazing adventure. But like it's just not cut out for me as much as like, I mean, I think I can get into the role and do it. It's just that I really want to be on The Amazing Race. So, you know, and also I went on the show and I beat my sister, and that was what I wanted to do. And like, I've done it, and I can. Like,
I don't want to interrupt you, but we need you and your sister on The Amazing Race. I think that would be fantastic.
I want it. I mean, like, I'm a big traveler. Like, I've been to 72 countries, and my sister is like the worst at directions. And then like, I'm good at languages. So I'm like ready to go. And then there's my sister that's probably going to like fall behind because she's like so bad at driving, so bad at directions, like all of these things that you need for Survivor. I'm like, good TV, guys, because I would just be shouting most of the time.
So in terms of reality TV, the Survivor chapter, we're past that. It's closed, but you won't, you know, outrule, or what's the term I'm looking for? You won't say that you won't be back on a show, but it would have to be like Amazing Race or something.
Yeah, I mean, I heard that there were twins on the US Survivor one time. One of them won, and then they went on The Amazing Race. So I'm like, hopefully we can just, you know, follow that path and like go on The Amazing Race. That's what, like, you know, I feel like I'm not a person that likes to repeat things. So I think starting a new thing, but a different show maybe, may highlight more about what I can do.
You are only my second no that I've ever received. Like saying, yeah. It was someone from your season. Do you want to take a guess at who the other one was?
Juicy?
Wasn't Juicy. He kind of. He left the door open. He said he would go back if it was like All Stars, because he said he feels like he has a duty to the show. But he said like a general season, no, he wouldn't.
Okay.
So I guess it was Mark.
Oh yeah, that would make sense. Yeah, he's already gone back again.
He said he's like, I don't know what else I could prove, and like some people go back to try to win again, but like I just see it, I'd go back and do worse. He's like, I've reached the top, so like what else is there to prove?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Well,
yeah, for me it's a no. No.
I loved how you put that. You're like, yeah, no, don't even have to think about it. I think you were the most hard no I've ever received. Because I think Mark was still like, yeah, probably not. I think that was Mark.
Mine was like, I know what this question is, and the answer is.
So if they call you,
it's a no from me.
If they call Michelle tomorrow, it's like, nope, hang up.
It's like, wrong number. I'm sorry. No, I'm joking.
Yeah, you're
But
looking
it's
for
the
my
Amazing Race.
sister. Yeah, she'll definitely play again.
Yeah, my sister, I think she will play again. I think she'll have things to prove. But for me, I'm okay with how I played and I know how I played. And I did things that maybe like the edit didn't show, but at least I know and the other castmates know that it happened. And yeah, I mean, I proved that I could live in the middle of nowhere being a city girl. So what I don't know what else is there to prove for me. I just, get me on the Amazing Race.
knowing you're a city girl gives me hope because I'm a city guy and I'm worried about going on the show.
I think you're gonna be fine. I think if I can do it, you can do it.
I've applied to the US I think 5 or 6 times. I'm like, I prefer the Australian version of the show. I'd love to go do the Australian version. So maybe I can make it out there sometime and do the show.
Yeah, maybe when you come out and visit, then you can
And I have starting next season, I get to interview I have super blessed and honored. I get to interview castaways as they leave for Channel 10. Like not actually like I'm not working for Channel 10, but you get what I'm saying. I get to interview exit interviews and stuff. So it's, never say never. Maybe make it out.
Yeah.
But yeah, I definitely want to make it to Australia to like visit you guys because love these chats. Love to meet in person. So that's what I'm over. I gotta get over this shoulder injury first. That's first thing, return to work. I'm very excited. So
that's not going to help you on Australian Survivor if you have a bum shoulder.
Yeah, right. Exactly. That's why the doctor was like, we could you've got 2 options. We could avoid surgery.
Yeah.
But if you play sports or anything, the likelihood of it popping back out is great. Or you can go through surgery and fix the entire problem altogether. And I was like, I know how much I love Survivor and how much I want to be out there. I could just imagine not doing surgery and then like 10 years when I go out, popping it out and ruining the whole adventure. So I'm like, let's just get it out of the way. Let's do this surgery.
Nice. That's a good idea.
But yeah. Well, thank you so much again for joining us. Do you have any other thing to say to the fans listening before we log off here?
I don't know. I mean, I am, obviously surprised by the fandom because I'm just not a very public person. So I appreciate all the love that I get. I appreciate people that come and say hi. Even people who can recognize me in a mask, like that is just next level type of,
Do they still sometimes think you're Melissa?
They probably don't know which twin I am. But I have lighter hair than my sister. But
the difference too, it was something with the teeth, right?
Yeah, I have like a fang tooth on my right, and Melissa has it on her left. Yeah,
masks doesn't help that.
Masks doesn't help that. Yeah, but no, I appreciate everyone. Like I appreciate the fandom. I appreciate all the love, and I never thought that I would have it. I thought that I would just fade into the distance because like that's just how I thought was going to happen. But I'm surprised that people still want to hear and yeah. Thanks, guys.
Where can they catch you on social media?
They can catch me on. It's like my first half of my name, like MICHE.CHIANG. That's my like IG handle. You can be one of you can enroll into the Masters or Bachelor of Speech Pathology at the University of Sydney, and I will be there, probably, being a clinical educator.
You're going to get more students than you've ever had now. Putting that out.
Yeah, I know. I know. But yeah, I'm excited. So that's where you'll find me.
It's been a great talk, and I know it's been a fantastic talk because I was worried coming on because for you, if you guys haven't caught on, it's the evening for Michelle, but for me, it's 7:30 in the morning right now. And so I woke about 5 to get ready. And I was like, I really hope I'm not yawning the entire time. I would feel terrible. It would have nothing to do with you, but I hate yawning in front of people because it always, it always makes it look like you're boring them and stuff. And so I'm like, try not to yawn. And I didn't yawn once on camera. I definitely beforehand, I was yawning and stuff. Well, Michelle, thank you again for joining us, and thank you guys for listening. You guys can catch us on our Instagram at Survivor Now Podcast, at Reality Randy, or follow me personally at I'm Randy Bruce. Make sure to subscribe if you're watching on YouTube, and thanks for tuning in again. We'll catch you guys next time.